G'day guys, how's it going? This is Broadcasting Because with the Fremantle Dockers AFL Live Season Mode, and this time around we are back at Subiaco Oval for round 14 action up against the Brisbane Lions. Now Brisbane have been a team this season, they've been there and thereabouts. They're sitting about 10th or 11th on the ladder, but they still have the firepower to make a last gasp charge for September action. Now there's just one change to our lineup for this week, and believe me, it is a huge one. Nicola makes way for the returning Stephen Hill, who comes back after his injury a few matches ago, and he will take place starting off the bench. Another minor change I made to the side was bringing Luke McFarlane up to centre half back to man and tag the life out of Jonathan Brown. I do not want him to get a touch in this game, because if he does, he will tear us to shreds. And it was a pretty lively start to this game as well. We were thankfully able to get the first goal of the match through Jay Van Burler, and Simon Black took a screamer you saw there before as well. But they were quick to hit back Brisbane, with Proud kicking their first of the game to level the scores up at 7 points apiece with 12 minutes to go. And it was not going to take long before we were able to get that run from Stephen Hill. That's what we've been missing. He breaks away from the centre and kicks a second goal. But if I was to be perfectly honest, I think the one thing that really sums up this first quarter was that both sides blew their chances to really create a buffering zone against the opposition. You saw Simon Black miss one across the face there, and I think that our intention was going into this game to really make use of our run and carry, because now we've got guys like Stephen Hill in the side. I moved Nat Fyfe to the wing to try and get him running on a bit more onto the ball, and of course we got Morabito in rotation there as well. But we had all these sorts of misses, two from Nat Fyfe and one from Jack Anthony. We could not kick that goal to just assert our dominance and our forward pressure over Brisbane. But Aaron Sandlands gets the handball off to Hayden Ballantyne of all people, the tall to the small, and we kicked that goal that we needed so desperately to really assert our dominance over Brisbane. And with just 30 seconds left on the clock, Chris Mayne centres the ball unselfishly to Nat Fyfe, who takes the diving mark on the chest. Probably didn't need to, but it was a nice mark nevertheless. And we kicked 2 goals in the closing minutes of that first quarter to assert our dominance over Brisbane. And you take a look at some of those possession stats as well. Nat Fyfe with 7 and Crowley with 5 disposals as well. An absolutely excellent effort from our midfielders to start this game. Now, I know that the deliberate rush behind rule is sort of being phased out of the game, but come on, Brisbane, that is just ridiculous. For the second quarter, I decided to move Matthew Pavlich to a more centre-half forward role so that it would make it that much more difficult for Brisbane to clear it out of their defensive 50, and that is exactly what it did. Kepler Bradley had a snap around the shoulder, but unfortunately it only found its way into the post. But it was not going to be long until we made them pay for all this pressure we were mounting on them. Michael Barlow gathers the ball, takes a step, snaps it, and goals it. Now, if you'll allow me to draw your attention to this freeze frame here, let's count the number of Dockers players surrounding the ball. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, 7 if you include Nick Subban, all within the space of about 5 to 10 metres. Now, either the AI is just having one of those glitchy moments, or they've all decided to act like absolute drop kicks. Either way, this is really annoying because it makes it a whole lot harder to find a free man inside the forward 50, and if Brisbane manage to get it out, we are going to have pretty much an open midfield for them to exploit. Not very smart AI. But moving on from that, and despite our healthy lead of 29 points, we were still struggling to put the Lions right to the sword, and it was a classic Crummers goal from Ryan Crowley which allowed the floodgates to be open once again. In fact, Crowley kicked 2 goals in a minute towards the end of that second quarter to give us a very, very good lead at half-time, 7-7-49 to just the 1 goal to 8 to Brisbane. Proud with their only goal. Van Burler racked up quite a few disposals in that second term, which is what Ryan Crowley and Nat Fyfe were able to do as well. Now, the third quarter of this game started to quieten down a little bit. Brisbane just hauled all of their midfield back into the defence. But to be fair, the defenders definitely did pick up the game. It became a lot more competitive for this third term. In fact, they were able to bomb the ball a lot more frequently into their offensive 50. And have a look at that for a snap around the corner from Cornelius. Don't know why De Boer's tackle didn't stick, but it doesn't matter, I guess. And they kicked just their second goal of the game. A very nice one, though, from Cornelius. But as you know, we are the Fremantle Dockers, and when we hit back hard. Kepler Bradley takes a mark just outside the goal square, and he kicks it through for his first goal of the afternoon, and I tell you what, having Nat Fyfe and Stephen Hill on the wing, Chris Mayne as centre-half forward as well, is just such a deadly combination. Fine Sandilands on the lead, and look who's on his own. It's Kepler Bradley once again. He lines himself up, and he slams it home for goal number 9, 61 to now 20, thanks to that Sav Clark goal, right at the end of the third quarter, I should say. And at three-quarter time, it is 9-7-61 to 3-2-20. A bit of a fizzer that third quarter really was. J. Van Bella with 10 touches, Mickey Barlow and Stephen Hill with 9 as well, and some very big numbers on the board for the Dockers. And we did not look to let it up there either. They were defensively minded, definitely, Brisbane, for this second half. They never really seemed to go after the win. They were more about keeping us out, I think, or at least as much as they could. Jack Anthony, I did move actually to more of a crumbing role in the midfield, which he seemed to take to like a duck to water. Fine Sandilands have got there first, but couldn't quite hold the mark. But Collier is there to kick the goal. What a shame he's at the wrong end. Now, I don't know if the AR was just having a general bad day, but some of the decisions they were making... Watch Josh Drummond's movements here. I mean, it just beggars belief. Jack Anthony kicks the goal, which should have been cleared about 10 seconds before he even got to the ball. It was just ridiculous, and we extended the margin to 50 points. Brisbane actually got a goal back through Proud kicking a very nice snap from the boundary to bring the margin back to 44 points, but by this stage it would be a huge understatement to say it was far too little, far too late, and by that stage we're able to just clean them up. A lovely piece of play here. Chris Mayne spins out of danger, over the shoulder handball to Kepler Bradley, who runs in and from 5 metres out is not going to miss and kicks goal number 11 for the Dockers. Right on the siren, Cornelius takes a mark about 40 metres out. There it is, the siren goes. It's a big win to the Dockers. It only matters about the margin. Cornelius walks in and should have done a lot more of this today. Kicks the goal for the Brisbane Lions to bring the final score to 11-10-76 to the Dockers at home, defeating the Brisbane Lions 5-32. The margin could have been a whole lot bigger if we hadn't have been so inaccurate in front of goals, but we'll take the win where we can, and that means that we hang on to that top 4 spot, just a game ahead of Geelong, but just 1 game behind Hawthorn. You see the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda still very, very tight-knit up the top of the ladder there. In choosing man of the match for this episode, I was really torn between choosing Ryan Crowley or Michael Barlow, but I ended up going with Mick Barlow because he was in absolutely everything in this game. His stats tell the story, really. He had 14 touches, 7 tackles, 5 marks, and he kicked a goal as well. He was in absolutely everything and was such a big part of the midfield, and I think a big reason as to why we won this match. Despite how tempted I was to give Collier the goal of the round for his great offensive effort, I decided to go with this goal from Kepler Bradley simply because of Chris Mayne's efforts here. He gets out his dancing shoes and does a bit of a roulette to get around the defender, get the handball off over the shoulder to Kepler Bradley, who sinks the goal. Nothing too amazing, to be honest. I just love the spin, and since there weren't too many amazing goals in this game, I thought that we'll have to go with that one. Well guys, that is the end of this episode of the Fremantle Dockers AFL Live Season Mode. I hope you have enjoyed our big win over the Brisbane Lions. Now remember, you can always click on, I know it's not the whole screen, it's the little AFL logo in the middle of the screen. You can click on that to take you back to the selection screen, which has got all the previous matches that are up so far, as well as the fixture for the rest of the season. Thanks very much for watching guys, cheers and stay tuned.